It's important for me to go to the march, personally, just because it was a part of history, and I need to be a part of it. My whole goal in life is making my mark in a positive way on my community, people around me, and the world for the most part.
For the longest time, I just know like the community as I know it hasn't been perfect. You know, to be part of something that's bigger than myself or what I imagine my community to be like, it was what I was hoping for and seeking at the Million Man March.
I knew that this event was huge. Like the first Million Man March was in '95. I was 4 years old. I knew nothing about that. And as I started to see the promotions for the 20th anniversary, I did my own research, you know, because I didn't know, I knew about it, but I didn't know that much about it. I was so young.
Rally was really inspirational. What I wanted to do was just take it back to the simplistic ways of how African Americans used to gather with each other. So just to give you kind of the basis of the scenario, we walk into a Baptist church in Southeast DC, one of the traditional kind of neighborhoods that haven't been gentrified yet. That's unfortunate yet, but in Washington DC, where there are African American populated.
The march was on a Saturday, 10/10/15. We went to the pre-march, which was on a Friday night, which was at a church somewhere in DC within a predominantly black neighborhood. And it was just so like, I feel like I was in a flashback from the past. Like it felt like we were in like the Martin Luther King days.
I walked to a Baptist church. Downstairs, you know, they have meals ready for people. They have the kids doing what they're doing. And it's just that whole environment. We go up to the sanctuary and it's almost like the feeling of the positive energy is just flowing. You know, the motivation, the togetherness.
It was such a historic church. Like you could just tell from the building and inside of the building that it was an older church. And while we were there before the service started, they were playing like previous videos of Farrakhan back in those days of him speaking at that church.
The love of our community is back, just like how it was in the 60s that Martin Luther King gathered people in his church in Atlanta or wherever it was in Memphis or wherever places African Americans gathered. It was just that feeling.
So just being there, physically sitting there, it was like, wow. And it was murals all over the walls of like, you know, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Farrakhan, just so many different leaders in our history, just all over the wall. So you just felt the spirit in there. It was like, wow, I'm really a part of history right now.
I'm a really big fan of that time and period, with it being just the togetherness of the African American community and us having something to build a foundation off of, not being, you know, something negative. Everything was positive there and the energy was great.
And then, you know, they had like good music and I I loved how they remixed the Mary J. Blige song. Like, that was funny.
When we were downstairs eating dinner before we went into service, you know, they kind of started and it was on the screen downstairs, so we got to enjoy like the praise and worship time. And it was funny because they had remixed a song by Mary J. Blige.
I was listening to it and I'm singing along with it. Like, I know this song, but I don't know where. I don't think it's a church song.
Ain't nobody gonna treat you better. Ain't nobody gonna do better. Like, and she had said, ain't nobody gonna touch you better. And I was just looking around like,
I'm like, oh, this is Mary J. Blige. But I just like how they twisted it and put their own meaning on top of it.
But then, you know, they remixed it, put all the, you know, the godly stuff in it. So I thought it was fun. I thought it was creative. And I really enjoyed the music. The music was up-tempo. They had the go-go beats going. And you know, that it really gets live when, you know, the drum, the percussions, and the organs start hitting and the guitar. I'm saying, everybody with the violins and stuff like that, so it was dope.
Also, Yandy Smith was there and Phaedra Parks, and they're both from reality shows where they talked about, you know, our deemed ratchet TV, which is partially true, but it was just good to see them out of that element and just fighting for justice and there for justice, and just to say that they are using their platforms to influence people.
They can't walk outside and be appreciated. They can't walk outside and have the same value as someone that looks a little different than them. That's why I'm here. I'm not an activist. I'm not getting paid to be up here. And people always say, Yandy, why are you posting this? You know, because I have a voice.
What's stopping black people? What's stopping us from taking the land? What's stopping us from getting serious about our condition? What's stopping us? God has always been on the side of the oppressed. And we certainly thank God for his coming to us to make himself known in prophets and messengers and men and women of good consciousness and goodwill. Whether they're Christian, Muslim, doesn't matter. They have the power, the faith, the power of faith, the power of faith to take a stand for justice, boy.
But Baldwin said when he wrote that, neither civilized reason nor Christian love cause any of our oppressors to treat us as they presumably would want to be treated.
This nation where we can claim that a government is for the people and by the people, but because of a kangaroo Supreme Court, billionaires like Donald Trump can literally buy the presidency. We are suffering from a drought of justice in this nation where black women and men have to fear for their lives from police officers who swore an oath to protect them simply because some officers think that a badge and a gun is permission slip to play Call of Duty with black lives. We're
They call me Grace Jones.
I want to touch on how Treyvon Martin's mom spoke very strongly about her position and how she's holding on and how she wants to use her son's story as to we need to put our foot down for justice.
Go ahead and sit down. So let me just tell you about my average life. It's not only Treyvon Martin's mother, but Fulton's mother as well. And so I fight for your boys, but I'm still fighting for my son as well.
Just seeing Treyvon Martin's mom get up and speak really just humbled everybody. The whole room just got silent in just respect for her and her strength. And she just reminded us all that Treyvon Martin is everybody's son. We are all Treyvon Martin in some way.
And we might be in despair, and this country is in a crisis. But if you know, like I know, God can turn things around and change those things into something positive. And I believe that. feel you, and you can feel my pain. And I say that to say, although a lot of you guys might not have met Treyvon Martin, I am Treyvon Martin. He is Treyvon Martin. Tracy Martin is Treyvon Martin. So you are looking at pieces of Treyvon Martin standing before you this evening. You are looking at Treyvon Martin. You are looking at what Treyvon Martin could have been. My son is a graduate of Florida International University.
Just seeing her up there speaking to all of us, just trying to encourage everybody else when, you know, she went through such a traumatic time was just like, wow, you know, she's a beautiful person.
He may not be perfect. No child is. They should be given the opportunity to grow up. They should be afforded the opportunity to live. And a lot of times, and I'm going to say this and then I'm going to my seat. A lot of times people ask me, how did I make it through it? How did I get past the tragedy? How did I live through it every day? Every single day I go through it. Every single day. And when I forget, and somebody walks up to me and say, your son was killed in Sanford when he was 7. You don't have to remind me, I know this. I carry this with me every day. All parents do. Because what that has done to my life is it has messed up the order of life. Where we are, our children are supposed to bury us. We're not supposed to bury our children. So I had to learn the new.
Everything was positive there, and the energy was great.
My expectations for the march wasn't what, you know, I thought it would be. It was more than that. It was beyond my expectations.
Going there, I was just expecting to kind of just take it all in, because I've never been a part of anything like that. I've never been a part of anything of that magnitude.
I knew I was going to be around a lot of people, and honestly, I was a little bit nervous. Just because there's so many people, and we see the media like in Ferguson, like if you weren't actually there, you only know what the media shows you.
Everybody slime. Think for yourself. Everybody slime. Think for yourself.
The experience from being at the march is something I'll never forget.
It was very inspirational, just seeing African American people on the same page, being positive. I think a lot of times when African Americans get together, people have personal agendas. And that's just how it is sometimes.
I was, thank God, so wrong. So wrong. I didn't have to feel like that at all. I have never felt more safe. It was the most peaceful rally ever. I was around thousands, maybe even up to a million or more people, and I didn't feel anything. I felt at home.
Being in a space where there was no violence, you know, we buried the stereotypes of African Americans, you know, at the march.
I mean, in every culture or race, there's always going to be somebody with a personal agenda. I just feel like the negative connotation kind of sticks to African Americans in their gatherings, which is unfortunate as well. But with that being said, this was one of the most positive rallies, marches, whatever you want to call it. It was the most positive environment you would ever be in. There was absolutely no violence, no corruption.
I felt so proud to be there. Just so many different, it was so beautiful, like seeing so many colors of people, like all shades of people there for one cause.
large medium, $10. Double X, 1X, large and medium, $10, $10. I can't breathe, $10, $10.
Hey, I think we're supposed to make a right.
Like you were talking about. Well, y'all,
You like that bean pie?
It was like a blank canvas to walk hand in hand with a brother I didn't even know or a sister I've never met before and share that same mutual bond while we was at the march was incredible.
It's one of those things where you kind of have to pinch yourself and be like, whoa, I'm here. Enjoying this, Ashley? What are you enjoying about it?
That it's just so, like, the culture is real, the culture is here, so many, like, different types of people here to support many different causes of justice, and it's just, it's good to be part of history.
Awesome.
I understand that people are afraid of, Minister Farrakhan and his beliefs and his ideas, but, as a people, we have to go back to the rhetoric of, Martin Luther King. Those who become silent are dead.
First, I want to say to all of you, I am honored beyond words, which must change as to how you address yourselves. You should never call another woman a bitch. Get that word out of our language. No female is after a dog. Every female is after God. So all of you black men that like to use such words, pull it out of your tongue before your tongue is pulled out of your head. It's our time now. This is not an event. It's a movement. Whatever. We've got to do it.
They come from groups like Justice League NYC, Black Lives Matter, and Hands Up United in Ferguson, Missouri. The activists that handle the or-else business on the streets every day.
I'm a young black boy, retired, lost voice, T-Dub, all these young people that been standing in the streets, Ferguson, for a long time. It's a year later. Ain't nobody come to save us. I'm not waiting for nothing to fall out the sky. I'm not waiting for your national hashtag to come save me. I'm gonna do the same thing Zach
mind that kept occurring, while I was at the march, while listening to Minister Farrakhan or other brothers that was talking, was who's not there, or why didn't you feel like you had to be there? That was a bigger question, going through my head the whole entire day, was the reason somebody felt they didn't have to be there.
Leaving the march, I feel happy, I feel motivated, I feel inspired. I feel a sense of togetherness that I never felt before, and I feel that I have seen the potential of the African American community.
It was just so happy, full of life and love, and it's just the opposite of what the media tries to show of us. In that moment, we proved everyone wrong. We proved everyone wrong. That was the most beautiful experience I've ever been in my life, and I just wish more people could have experienced it. It was a lot of people there, but it should have and could have been a lot more people there.
It is very important that we take this and we kind of just leave it as our perspective, kind of just lay the tracks down of positivity and kind of just, take it each one day at a time, each one teach one, one step at a time. It doesn't have to be perfect overnight, but there has to be some type of positive movement.
We speak up for anything else, and we start speaking up on issues that's concerning us. That's all that matters. CNN doesn't need to report it. Fox News, that shouldn't concern us. As long as we develop a system that's organized and continue to ask for these, demands, we shouldn't worry about what others think. We're accountable for our own actions. We can't, wait up on other people to do it. We have to be the voice.
Use your voice. We don't have a Martin Luther King or a Farrakhan or a Malcolm X, one leader, big leader right now, and we don't need that. We are more powerful than we think. We have social media. We have so many different outlets, and people listen to us.
We have to care about ourselves. And it all starts with caring. If we can do the same thing we seen up at the march, caring for one another, then our race, and our culture itself, is going to start, begin to build itself back up.
Just me being there was monumental, but the aftermath of this Million Man March is going to be even more so that words couldn't even describe. I'm just excited about, the overall accumulation of what's going to come from this day.
What does justice or else mean to me? Well, it means a lot to me because I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and so I was in St. Louis when the Mike Brown incident happened. And I've been there my whole life because I'm from there. So I don't know, I feel like a kind of connection towards that. So that leads to everything else, leading, from Treyvon to Eric Garner, all those, et cetera, or not even just police brutality, just our struggle in general.
It started off with me from back home in New York because there are a lot of issues of racial profiling. And it just started to really bother me because I have brothers and I see things like that, and I know that things aren't really fair based on the color of their skin.
Justice or else means, look, we're tired of this. Like, let's do something. And that's what my whole idea is about. I want people to think about what's next.
Justice or else is just like, it's time for us to take a stand. This happened 20 years ago, the first Million Man March, and within that period of time, so much has happened within our culture. So for me, I just feel like justice or else is just we gotta come together. You need to give us justice, really, or else. We're gonna take it back. We're just gonna take back justice which belongs to us, which we currently really don't have right now.
So you spoke about your experience at the Million Man March in 1995. Do you think it's going to be any different today? Especially since there's a new generation coming. Do you have any experience?
No, it will be very different, and for no other reason is because there's many competing agendas. I think there was a sense of opportunity then. Remember, there had been no black president, which is not to say it's an achievement or to diminish it, but that nobody knew what could come. However, there had been the race riots of the 1992 Rodney King riots. There was a sense of an awakening black community that had been benefited from civil rights, but that over the last 10 years had lost any positive relationship with much of the governing establishment, even the liberal establishment. We'd been out of the agenda, and then finally, but racial violence had broken out again. So the question is there going to be a new kind of black community beyond simple civil rights?
It is very important that we take this and we kind of just leave it as our perspective, kind of just lay the tracks down of positivity and kind of just, take it each one day at a time, each one teach one, one step at a time. It doesn't have to be perfect overnight, but there has to be some type of positive movement.
The ideology of Legend Live Forever, right, goes a long way. It really goes a long way. It shows, for example, we have a clothing, we do have music, we have different outlets too, and we try to utilize that to source, basically, that idea that no matter what, it's about having a legacy, It's about having a legacy. And doing this is part of our legacy, Like, when you Google Legend Live Forever, you're going to find abundance of different things, right? And this would be one of them, This is definitely making that mark in time and history and making sure that it's positive,
have people that are willing to do anything to make a change, because people say we're getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. So we say, let's go and appeal to the government. Let's demand justice from the government. And he asked for 1 million people to come, and looking at those crowds, I don't know what the totals are, but I was just so amazed, so in awe, that looking at all the many people that responded to the call. And I was just glad to be one in that number. It was beautiful.
Our voices needs to be awakened again. We have to speak for our communities and for ourselves.
Use your voice, do whatever you gotta do. If you gotta make a rap, if you gotta make a video like this here, that's our outlet.
We speak up for anything else, and we start speaking up on issues that's concerning us. That's all that matters. CNN doesn't need to report it. Fox News, that shouldn't concern us.
If you gotta make a song, if you gotta make a poem, a Facebook post.
We're accountable for our own actions. We can't, wait up on other people to do it. We have to be the voice, and the time is now.
The Instagram post, Periscope, Twitter, I don't care. Use your voice.
Slow bucks is better than no bucks. It's kind of like if we're moving one step at a time and we're moving in a positive direction, even if there's a halt or, something to get over, a hump, whatever you want to call it, that's okay. But we're still moving in a positive direction. There's nowhere that we can go but up from here. So I feel like I'm feeling great, man. And, we're gonna try to make our impact on, different things in the community and taking an impact, most importantly, in our lives, because you have to be the change that you want to see in the world.
You're live with
Live the Culture.
Live the culture.
Live the culture.
LiveTheCulture.com.
And you live at livetheculture.com.
Please visit our blogs. Stay with us. Stay following the movement. Please join, subscribe today at livetheculture.com. You can follow us up on Twitter at Live the Culture. All right, and check us out up on Instagram at Live the Culture. Peace.
Get out of here.
Chris.